Hi everyone, it's Stacey here from Allergic to Salad, and I have cooking with us today.
Marcus.
And how old are you, Marcus?
Which is 4.
Which is 4. And?
Adrian.
Adrian. And Adrian, how old are you?
6.
6, great. So once again, as always, we've washed our hands really well before we started cooking. We've washed our work surface here. We've gotten our ingredients ready to go. Marcus is smelling nutmeg. We're going to be using nutmeg in today's recipe for our mix and match quick bread that we're going to make. So this is a baking recipe. So what we're going to do is have the recipe batter ready to go, which is the ingredients we're going to mix together. And then you can work with a parent if you're working alone to have them cook this. So if you want to get this cooked up right away, you should preset your oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. So we are going to do ours with banana bread, with bananas, our mix and match quick bread, because we have a lot of bananas that are starting to turn brown and we want to do something with them. So we're going to use banana bread. You could also use shredded carrots, you could use zucchini, you could use apples, pears, you can mix it up. That's why it's mix and match, see what works for you. Altogether you want about 1 cup of your fruit or vegetable that you're going to be using. We are also going to be using sunflower seeds in our recipe, so you can use a combination of seeds, or if you eat nuts, you can do nuts. In our cookings at school, we don't use any nuts in our recipes, but with our pantry for some of these recipes, we might be using nuts, so substitute as you want. And you can also use dried fruit if you like. We have regular all-purpose white flour. We have sugar we're using, baking powder for this recipe, baking soda as well. Marcus is holding up the whole nutmeg. We also have ground nutmeg and cinnamon. One thing that we like to do sometimes when we're bored is a little bit of, we call it spice exploration that we do in class, where we maybe smell, oh, our cuckoo's going off. We smell whole nuts or seeds, or taste whole nuts or seeds. Can't really taste a whole nutmeg seed. You could grind it, but kids try to guess which it is, match it up, or just pass around the ground to see if they can figure it out. We've got 2 eggs in this recipe. We've got butter. We've got yogurt. We have vanilla, and that's it. So we're not using, normally we would put in some salt for this recipe, but I know, we'll talk about it. We are putting salted butter into our recipe, so you could also use coconut oil or any other oil. And then since we're doing banana bread, we've got these little banana chips that we're gonna decorate the top of ours. For tools, we've got our mixing bowl that already has our bananas in it ready to go. We have, boys, what are these?
Teaspoons.
No. What are these?
Cups.
Cups are measuring cups that we have. And Marcus, what are these?
Spoons.
These are our measuring spoons, right? Our measuring spoons. We're gonna mash our bananas using our handy dandy potato masher. You could also just use a fork, whatever you have around. We have our mixing spoon. And then today you could either use a bread loaf pan, like a 9x5 regular standard loaf pan. That would mean you're baking for about an hour. In our classes, we tend to use these little mini muffin trays that make sort of tiny little 2-bite muffins. I already have it oiled and ready to go. I sprayed it with some oil. We use these in class because these only take about 12 minutes to bake, so it's super easy. And then what we're also using is, we like to fill our mini muffins with a little mini ice cream scoop, because it keeps it a little bit cleaner when you're working with kids, and it just makes it easier to fill them in a sort of even manner. And then we have our handy dandy cloth, because we're doing eggs, just in case. Okay, so let's get started. We reviewed our ingredients. So Marcus, you are going to start mashing these bananas while I talk a little. And one thing that we do in class is we try to work with our recipes and make them as easy to do in class as possible using making things as not dirty as possible, if that makes any sense. So what we try to do is start with all of our dry ingredients and measure our dry ingredients first, and then we add our wet ingredients. It just means that we can use a single mixing bowl, and there's less dishes to make, and it just makes it move a little bit faster. So you just keep smushing, smush, smush. So we want about 1 cup of fruit or vegetables, whatever you're doing. I'm gonna do a few too. And this is about, we did just 3 bananas, I eyeballed it, and that's okay. So today we're gonna be concentrating on proper measuring techniques, which of course I just said we're eyeballing this, but in the future we're going to be doing proper measuring techniques and just working on our measurements to sort of build that skill up. And so it's just continuation of introducing new tools as well. So we've got about one cup of this, and I said that we usually start with our dry ingredients. This can be at the bottom. We're not using any measuring tools right now to add on top of it. So that makes it easy. So that's great. We're gonna do 1 3/4 cups of seeds or berries. So we need the cups, Marcus, the measuring cups. So we're gonna put this aside. So look for a 1 cup first. And you have to look on the bottom for the 1 cup measure. And you want something that says 1 cup on the bottom. That says 1/3. So that's not 1 cup. And that one says
1/2.
1/2. So that's not the cup.
So it says 1.
And that's what we're looking for, is the 1. Now what you could also do is practice your fractions, right? So maybe you don't have the cup and you want to use a 1/2 cup. Boys, does anyone know if we needed 1 cup and we only have a 1/2 cup, how many 1/2 cups do we need? Yes, Adrian.
2 cups.
2 1/2 cups. Yes.
This is 1/2.
That's 1/2. So let's do, since this is sort of, bowl is sort of overflowing, what we can also do if we're worried about overflowing bowls is sometimes we can use our mixing spoon or a measuring spoon, and you can put it in that way and scoop it up.
And then that would be 4 mini ones to make a full.
You think so? So this is 2,
Oh.
3. So we're practicing fraction. How many tablespoons to get? I think this is 4. This is 5. So another way we can practice our kitchen measurement, 6. And 6, that looks about a 1/2 cup. So let's get that in. Boom. And do that 1 more time. Fill it up. Adrian, while he's doing that, I want you to get a cup of flour. Remember, nice flat scoop using your most important kitchen tool and keeping it flat. You're going to do the flour, please. Can you do it?
Spill.
Maybe a little will spill. Flatten it out. Just 1 finger. Can you? Perfect. And then we need, of the seeds, we need 1 3/4 cups. So we just put in 1 cup, and we're gonna do 1 more 1/2 cup. We have a little spilling over there, but that's okay. That's a pretty good 1 cup. Put that in. Good. And then we need actually an additional 1/4 cup. We have somehow lost our 1/4 cup. It happens. And so we're gonna use, Marcus, remember when we hold our measuring tools, that a little bit easier so they don't flop around is we hold it at the center. Thank you. So we need another 1/4 cup. So what we're gonna do, sort of like it, okay, good. And so what we're gonna do, and again, cooking with kids, it doesn't have to be, some of these things don't have to be totally exact. It's also an experiment, so what went wrong, we could figure it out. I think he needs a little bit more of the seeds, so we'll see. When we mix it up, we'll see if we want more seeds. So we need a 1/4 cup. We only have a 1/2 cup. How many quarters? Do you know how many quarters
4
are in a half? There's 4 quarters in 1 cup. Thank you. So we're gonna fill this up halfway. That means with flour, please. So fill it up halfway with flour. We're gonna eyeball that since we lost our 1/4 cup. So Marcus. Oh, Adrian's practicing his. How many do you think you're gonna need there, Adrian? Keep going.
Pretty much like 4.
Our next ingredient is going to be sugar, and we're going to do a half cup of sugar in this, and I know Markus wants to do it. And so we're going to wait for our half cup. What do you think, Adrian? Does that look like half? One more? What do you think? All right. And so usually we just want to use one finger there, but that works. Great.
Wait.
Okay, good.
I'll call it like.
About a half. Okay, good. Because we actually need 1 1/4, so we were filling our half cup. Uh-oh. Adrian, can you wash those off?
Yeah.
About 1/4 of the way. All right. We have our half cup measure here. Markus, can you scoop up the sugar? I don't know if you can see it, but in my sugar, I put our used vanilla beans. If you ever use vanilla beans, these are probably like 2 years old by this point. A little bit more. But I just leave them in there, and it just gives everything a really nice smell. And I guess theoretically it's vanilla sugar that we're making, but ooh. I'll help you out. Always tilting is a good thing, and that's good. Let's do that in. Great.
Cover it all.
Cover it up. Thank you, sir. So we've washed these off. Good thing that we have this here so we can dry it off. Because our next thing that we're going to do is our baking powder. And we need a teaspoon. So Adrian, can you find the 1 teaspoon?
Yeah.
1 teaspoon. We're going to move these sort of out of the way a little. So one handy thing about baking powder is that oftentimes you'll see they have this sort of half piece of aluminum here. That's a really great way for us, instead of using our finger, great, is that we can use that to flatten it out. So Markus, Adrian's going to do this, and then you'll do the next one. Okay, Adrian? So scoop it up. We're doing 1 teaspoon, and then flatten it out there. Flatten it out again. Beautiful. And inside. And Markus, you also need a teaspoon. Can you grab the teaspoon from Adrian? No, we just did that. And now we're going to do, oh, sorry, not a teaspoon, sorry, a half teaspoon. We'd also be putting a half teaspoon with this, so 1/2 you're looking for, a half teaspoon of salt. But again, we're using salted butter, so we're going to omit the salt in ours. So a half teaspoon of baking soda. And use your finger to flatten it out over here. Beautiful, get that in. Lovely. And Markus, do you want to do cinnamon or nutmeg? Cinnamon. Okay.
No nutmeg. Please.
Right here. So we're going to do a half teaspoon of each cinnamon and nutmeg, and that's a heaping teaspoon. Let's try to flatten it out back into the jar. Adrian, where are you going?
I'm trying to get my nutmeg.
Beautiful. All right, get that in. And Markus, pass this over. Half teaspoon also.
Nutmeg, finally.
And we're going to mix up. Markus, can you sort of gently mix up these ingredients? Try to keep it all in the bowl. It can be difficult. That's okay, baby.
Yeah. Take that bananas.
Good.
Here we go.
All right, into the bowl.
No more nutmeg. I like my.
Well, let's keep it. Let's see how this recipe goes with half, please. And then if we need more nutmeg, we can do more.
No.
So now other things.
Fill the whole jar in.
We're going to be doing 2 eggs for this recipe. And when we do the eggs, what I usually do when working with kids in the kitchen is I get a smaller, we do them one at a time into the smaller bowl. And let's clear this off a little. And that way if you get any shells, you can pick them out from your mini bowl rather than, hold on, so Markus is going to show us how to do the egg. And remember, Markus, what you're going to do is crack the wide flat part first. Once it's cracked, you're going to stick your 2 thumbs into that hole and pull it apart. Beautiful. No shell. No shell is always the goal. So let's get that in, Markus.
I know, Markus is a perfect egg cracker.
Perfect egg cracker. So Adrian, let's pause on the mixing now while Markus gets the eggs in. No. Let's wait until the batter's done. And then Markus, you're going to do the other egg. While Adrian is pouring in half a cup of melted cooled butter. I've pre-melted that and measured it, so that's going to go in.
My shirt.
That's okay, babe. And then that goes in. Lovely.
Oh my god, yum.
Our melted butter. Adrian, I need you to find the 1/3 cup. We're gonna add 1/3 cup of yogurt. So 1/3. 1/3 cup. Beautiful, Marcus. Can I get this in, or do you want to put that in? No. Person who cracks the egg always wants to put it in.
Okay.
So 1/3. Let's add 1/3 cup of yogurt, and then Marcus, last ingredient is going to be our teaspoon. You can find it. 1 teaspoon. All right, Adrian, can you get these measuring cups into the sink, please?
Yes, all
Thank
of
you,
them.
thank you.
Stay inside the sink.
Yes.
Stay inside.
And Marcus is going to find 1 teaspoon. 1 teaspoon. You have to look at the other side. Not 1/2, but 1. And we're going to do the vanilla. After that, we're going to mix everything up.
I
We're
love
gonna
vanilla. I love
1
vanilla.
scoop into our tray, and we're going to bake ours for about 12 minutes. So we're going to mix up. Okay, go ahead, scoop it up.
Can I eat the nutmeg?
No, you cannot eat the
I
nutmeg.
love nutmeg.
All right, boys, you're going to mix this up, Adrian. All right, so let's make sure it's nice and even. I'm gonna hold the bowl, and then once we scoop it and put it into our tray, we're gonna add one of our little dried banana chips on top. That's just a little. Let's wait until this is mixed. We're gonna add one of our little banana chips. It's like a cute little decoration, optional. If you had other dried fruit, you could add that on top. Try to get this as even as possible, but you know, if you want them to do most of it, you know, let them see what it looks like, how it comes out if all of the flour is not mixed in. So it doesn't have to be perfect. So Adrian, would you like to mix this up as well?
I want a taste test. Yeah, me too.
So it's got our little chunky in it. So you guys really want to wait until after it's baked, but I don't know. Make sure it's not poisonous. Okay.
Yeah.
So after that, we're gonna stick it into our batter. Our little mini muffins are gonna go in the oven for about 12 to 15 minutes. I sort of judge it on whether I can smell it. So if it starts to smell really good, that's when I check it. If you're not as sure, you can check it with a toothpick. So hope you enjoyed this recipe for allergic to salads. Mix and match quick bread. So we're gonna scoop these up and bake them. Let us know how yours went, how your other recipes go. Yeah, you guys can start scooping. Let us know how your recipes go. You can put them up on Instagram or on Facebook. Link to us, tag us.
Guys, this is our dessert.
This is your dessert for the day.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks so much.
My dessert is super baked. What should I call it? Just
super baked? What?
Wait, what should I call it, guys? Do you want me to call it banana bread or